We are going to sew an easy zipper case size medium in vinyl stardust from my shop today. I'm going to demo you this pattern that I've written. It's in print or PDF. There are 3 size options as well as contrast bottom options, but you can adapt this to any size you'd like to make. It's super simple. You just need to learn the techniques. Join me and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. So let's get started. I've got my pattern here and I'm going to move my phone so I'm not distracted. And here we go. All right, I'm going to be making the size medium easy zipper case for this video because the process is exactly the same for all the sizes. So here is my exterior fabric. I'm using Stardust vinyl in sky blue, which is gorgeous and iridescent. And because I'm using this vinyl, I don't need to use an interfacing on my exterior. That's why I love using vinyl. For my lining, I'm going to use this cotton and steel, and I will be interfacing this with Pellon SF 101. So I'm going to put the bumpy side down on the wrong side of the fabric. It's got like little raised dots. And then I will bring over my iron. What I usually do is press it onto the wrong side like this, and then flip it over and press it from the right side. And then at the end, if there's excess hanging off, I'll just trim that away, not a big deal. All right, so this just gives the lining some body. It makes it easier to sew. I will trim that down in a second. Okay, so we've got the exterior, we've got the lining, we've got a zipper. I'm using a handbag zipper. They're a little wider. I find them a bit easier to sew, plus the zipper pull is larger, so that's what I'm using. Now I've cut my zipper end tabs, and I'm going to prep those. So I'm just bringing the short ends to meet, opening. I'm going to bring that in, each short end in to meet that center crease and give it a press. And then fold it over one more time. So I've got a folded side and I've got an open side like a Pac-Man. And that's what the zipper will sit in. I like adding zipper tabs a lot of times to my bags because I don't like dented corners on the ends. It just kind of bugs me. But it's not wrong. You do you. It's fine. Okay, so I've got my zipper tabs. Now if you're following along in the pattern, which is what I recommend, we're going to start with, well, we just did step 1. Now we're going to trim our zipper to length. So in the pattern, I tell you my little trick, which my case is 10 inches wide, so I'm going to trim my zipper down to 9 inches. Okay, so I always cut off that end metal doohickey there. And then I'm going to bring this over and measure exactly to 9 and cut that. But I'm not going to use those scissors. I'm going to use this. It's an older rotary blade, so I'm not too worried about damaging it. So now my zipper is exactly the right length, and I'm going to sew on the zipper tabs. Bring your zipper in to touch the fold. Fold this back over, and you'll sew right along here. I'm going to use the clip to hold it in place. Okay, so the zipper tabs are sewn on. Now I'm just going to trim them. Now the zipper is ready to go. And can you believe it's time to start building this zipper case? So what you're going to do is you're going to lay the zipper right side down on top of your exterior fabric. You want to center it. I like to think of it like about a finger width on each side, because that's going to be our seam allowance. We're not going to sew over the zipper tabs. So at this point, use some clips and sew this down right along here. There's a faint edge. There's like a really faint line on this zipper tape that can be your guide as to where to sew. So just right along here. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to get my lining. I need to trim it because I've got that SF 101 is a little overhang there, so just trim the excess away. And I'm going to bring this back and lay it right on top. And sew exactly on that line we just sewed, right along here, okay? Let's do that. I'm going to flip this and bring the fabrics so they're wrong sides together. And I'm going to finger press this down. I can also iron it from the lining side, but you never want to touch a hot iron directly to vinyl. It'll melt it. I find most of the time I don't need to use an iron there unless I'm using quilting cotton. Okay, now what I'm going to do is top stitch along this just to hold that seam down and make it real easy to sew later. You want to make sure that your lining and exterior are not going to hit your zipper teeth. Oh, come on. If you're top stitching your vinyl, you want to make sure to have on your Teflon foot or a non-stick sewing foot. This makes it a ton easier. All right, now we're going to add the other side. Other piece of exterior fabric or vinyl, whatever you're using. Lay your constructed side, right side down, exterior facing exterior, centering it. Match your sides and match that top edge with the top of the case and the zipper. Now I'm going to sew down that side. You might need to move your zipper head out of the way, even if you're using a zipper foot. Now for the last section, it's your last lining piece here. Directional, right side facing up. Lay it on top of the lining. Match the top edge, top raw edges, match the sides. I use clips to hold in place. And then I'm going to flip it over and sew right on that line I just sewed. You can see it there. Same thing, finger press this side. Make sure to press the lining away. And now top stitch this side. Okay, so we've got both sides top stitched. We're ready to go. Want to make sure that your zipper is open. Bring both exteriors together, right sides together. Match the bottom and side edges. Use clips to hold in place if you've used vinyl like I have. Pins would be holes forever. And the lining, do the same thing. On the lining, I usually use pins. Okay. Now we're going to sew all the way around, leaving a hole in the bottom or an opening in the bottom for turning right sides out later. So you can mark it. I usually like at least 4 inches. Sometimes I'll go even 5, just depends. But this is just a reminder to myself to leave it open. Start here and sew all the way around, and then we'll do our corners. Now, right here, it's really important. You're scooting right by that zipper tab. You're not sewing over the zipper tab. Some people get confused there, but that's why we left the space. Okay, come on, don't do that. Okay, now we're doing the corners. Just like in the pattern tells you, for each size, it has a different size corner. And so really, I need a smaller ruler, but that's okay. I will make it work. So I'm going to measure and draw. Once you've got them marked, you can cut them out. Cut right on the lines. Now come in here. It's easier for me to show you this with the lining. You kind of pull the corner apart and match the side and bottom seam there. Nest the seams and put a pin to hold in place, and then we're going to sew right across the whole side. So here's for the other one. Kind of squish it to make it come apart. Bottom seams, side seams together. One seam goes one way, one goes the other. Put a pin to hold it all in place, and then I flatten it like this to put it through the machine and sew all the way across. For the vinyl, sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to get it apart, or fingernails, which I don't have. There we go. If the seams come apart on you like they have here, just come back and sew across there with a lock stitch. I need to do that there because those pulled apart. But we do exactly the same thing as the lining. Just going to nest the seams and sew across that edge. And I use a clip here and sew right across there. Okay, so I'm going to sew across here. Okay, so that lining in the bottom, just reach in And because your zipper was open, you'll be able to pull the whole bag through. If you're having trouble turning the vinyl, you can warm it with a hairdryer. It makes it more pliable, and then turn it. Some people use a little cornstarch or baby powder on it. I don't find I really need to do all that, but if you're having trouble, those are some ideas. Zipper tabs, this is key. Some people don't know that you have to come in here, and I'm pushing out with my finger quite a bit to make that zipper tab look right. It's not just going to naturally do it. See how it just wants to sit in there? So you have to come in with your finger. I use my middle finger because it's the strongest. And push it out as hard as I can. There we go. We're almost done. Just going to close this seam, and what I do is tuck it in and close it by machine because it's fast. I'll be right back. Trim any threads that you have sticking around. Tuck it in, and you're done. If you want to add a tassel or a zipper pull to your zipper, you certainly can. Now, sometimes I like to come in here and give it a press. I get my little mini Aliso iron because it can fit in here better, and I'll press the inside, and that gets rid of any wrinkles, even on the outside of the pouch. Because you don't, if you used vinyl, do not press the iron to the vinyl. Press it from the inside with a little mini iron. Oh, it's so cool. It's not even a sunny day, but this just cheers me up. Look at all that iridescence. So use this same technique, whether you're making small, large, or your own size. Feel free to explore with sizes. And I hope you have fun. If you need any help, feel free to email me, message me. I'm on Instagram at SoHungryHippie. And thanks.